This powerful sentence made me a millionaire overnight the moment I said it, for the word once spoken in faith becomes law in the unseen and takes shape in the seen. I stood in a moment of complete surrender, knowing that Spirit hears not my doubts but my declarations, and I chose to declare abundance as mine. I did not beg, nor did I plead, for begging implies lack, but I spoke with authority, for the divine within answers only to certainty. As I uttered the words, I felt the doors of fear close behind me, and the windows of prosperity open before me. The power of the spoken word is the key that unlocks the unseen treasure house of abundance, and when one understands this truth deeply, life begins to change in ways that seem miraculous. Words are not idle sounds. They are living vibrations that travel into the universe and return multiplied. When a person speaks with conviction, each word becomes a decree, a command that the invisible forces of life rush to fulfill. This is why a single sentence spoken in faith and certainty can alter destiny overnight. When I uttered that powerful affirmation, it was not merely a phrase, but a declaration backed by the fire of belief. At that moment, I was no longer wavering between fear and faith, no longer doubting whether good was meant for me. Instead, I stood in the authority of the divine law, and my words carried the energy of assurance. Life always mirrors the strongest feeling and thought within us, so when I shifted from uncertainty to certainty, from hoping to knowing, the universe had no choice but to align with my decree. So many live years in want because they speak words of lack, often without realizing it. They say, "I never have enough," or "money is hard to come by," and so life echoes back those very conditions. The subconscious mind is a faithful servant. It cannot reason or question, but it accepts every statement as truth and works tirelessly to bring it about. This is why careless words build barriers, while words spoken in alignment with divine abundance break every chain. The instant I said my sentence, I could feel something shift in the unseen. It was as though invisible doors swung open, and a river long dammed began to flow freely. The words themselves carried the authority of completion, as if the thing I desired were already mine. And in truth it was, for Spirit had prepared it long before my claim. The only difference was that until then, my words had kept it at bay. Speaking in this way is not wishful thinking. It is a conscious partnership with the creative law of the universe. Just as a seed knows to grow into a tree, words know to bring forth the reality they describe. If you plant the word abundance, it must produce abundance. It cannot yield poverty any more than an apple seed can bear thorns. The power lies not in straining or forcing, but in the quiet certainty that what is spoken in alignment with truth must manifest. When I said my powerful sentence, I felt the vibration of harmony, as if heaven and earth had agreed together. That agreement was the key, and the results appeared swiftly, almost as if they had been waiting at the door of my life, needing only the right word to enter. This is the sacred law of the spoken word. It shapes reality, it summons supply, and it transforms lives the instant faith takes hold. The first truth that reveals itself in this journey is the understanding that the spoken word is a decree to the universe. Words are never empty, nor are they mere sounds carried away by the air. They are charged with the creative energy of thought and intention, and the universe listens carefully to each vibration. When one speaks from a place of fear, those words summon experiences that echo the fear. When one speaks with confidence and faith, those words become like commands, bringing forth manifestations that align with the higher good. The subconscious mind does not argue or resist. It simply accepts what is spoken as law and begins shaping life accordingly. This is why the moment I declared my powerful sentence, it was not the sentence alone that held weight, but the belief behind it. The energy carried within the words drew upon the invisible forces of supply, opening the way for wealth to flow to me instantly. Just as a seed planted in fertile soil bursts into life when watered, so too did my declaration spring forth into form, for it was spoken with faith, so strong that it allowed no room for doubt. The second truth is the law of mental imagery, the inner picture that words paint upon the canvas of the mind. Every word is not only sound but also image, and the subconscious takes that image as instruction. If someone repeatedly says, "I am always struggling," the subconscious sees that picture and brings it into reality. But if one says with conviction, "I live in endless supply," the subconscious paints abundance, and the outer world arranges itself to match. When I spoke my sentence, I saw in my mind's eye the reality of wealth already secured, not as a distant hope, but as a present fact. This inner picture was vivid and alive, and it carried the same certainty as seeing the sun in the sky. Because the subconscious cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is materially present, it immediately began aligning my outer life to reflect that vision. The powerful sentence acted as a key, unlocking the storehouse of infinite supply and allowing what was already mine in spirit to appear in tangible form. The speed of the result was not surprising once I understood that time is only a measure of resistance. Where there is no resistance, where faith is absolute, manifestation is swift. The sentence dissolved resistance, painted the perfect inner picture, and set the law into motion without delay. Thus the two truths stand together, the spoken word as a decree and the mental image as its blueprint. Together, they form the bridge between the invisible and the visible, turning thought into substance and faith into fortune. The first truth to grasp is the creative authority of the spoken word. Every word is a decree, and once uttered with conviction, it sets unseen forces into motion. Many people imagine words to be fleeting, yet they carry the power of life and death, poverty and wealth, bondage and freedom. When I spoke the powerful sentence that shifted my life, it was not spoken lightly, but with the full assurance that the universe must answer. The subconscious mind, ever faithful and unquestioning, received the declaration as law and began immediately arranging circumstances to bring it to pass. This is why careless words can keep a person chained in lack, while words of faith and abundance open the way to prosperity. The word once spoken in faith cannot return void. It must accomplish that which it was sent to do. The second truth is the role of imagination, for words are not only sounds but pictures painted upon the mind. Every declaration creates a mental image that the subconscious treats as a command. If one speaks of debt and limitation, the mind paints that image, and soon the outer world reflects it. But if one speaks of wealth, security, and endless supply, the mind holds that image as real, and life begins to mirror it. When I spoke my sentence, I held in my imagination the vision of myself already living in abundance. I saw it as clearly as if it were before my eyes, and I accepted it as fact. The subconscious cannot distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is present in the material world, so it obeyed the vision and set in motion the swift manifestation of riches. Words without pictures are weak, but words clothed in clear mental images carry creative force that cannot be denied. The third truth is the necessity of faith, the unwavering trust that what is spoken and envisioned already exists in the invisible. Faith is the bridge between the word and its manifestation, the assurance that the unseen is more real than appearances. Without faith, words are empty and visions dissolve into shadows. But with faith, the spoken word becomes law, and the inner picture is clothed in substance. When I uttered my powerful sentence, I did not look to the evidence of the senses, for at that moment my outer life still showed lack. Instead, I looked with the eyes of spirit, believing that what I had claimed was already accomplished. That faith dissolved the barriers of doubt and fear, allowing the word and the image to take immediate form. Where there is no resistance, manifestation is swift, for spirit wastes no time when faith is absolute. It was this combination, spoken word, vivid image, and unwavering faith, that turned a single sentence into the doorway through which abundance entered my life overnight. The first truth is that the spoken word is never idle, for every declaration goes forth charged with creative power. Life itself is obedient to the voice of conviction, and the universe responds to the tone of certainty more than to the sound of the words. When I spoke the powerful sentence, it was not the syllables alone that shaped the outcome, but the vibration of authority behind them. The subconscious mind, ever loyal and unquestioning, received the decree as a command, and began at once to rearrange the outer world to reflect the inner order. This is the law. Speak with doubt, and doubt becomes flesh. Speak with faith, and abundance takes form. The invisible realm is full of supply, waiting only for the command of the spoken word to pour itself into visible experience. The second truth is the image carried within the mind. Every word paints a picture, and that picture becomes the blueprint for manifestation. If one continually speaks of lack, the inner vision becomes colored by shadows, and soon life conforms to that pattern. But when one speaks of wealth and fulfillment, the mind sketches scenes of prosperity, and the outer world rushes to bring them forth. When I spoke my sentence, I did not see myself as one hoping for better days, but as one already in possession of riches. The inner image was alive and complete, and because the subconscious cannot distinguish between the vividly imagined and the physically present, it began to embody the picture without hesitation. The word was the seed, and the image was the soil that allowed it to grow without delay. The third truth is the unwavering role of faith. Faith is the bridge between the unseen word and the seen reality. Without faith, words are fragile sounds that drift away, but with faith, they are spiritual decrees that command substance. Faith does not consult appearances, for appearances are often deceptive. Faith looks to the unseen, where all good already exists, and claims it as present reality. When I uttered my sentence, I did not glance at the emptiness of my purse or the absence in my accounts. I looked instead to the richness of spirit, knowing that every need was already supplied in the invisible. That faith dissolved fear, silenced doubt, and opened the way for swift demonstration. The speed with which abundance came was not surprising, for time exists only where resistance lives, and faith removes resistance completely. The fourth truth is the law of receptivity. Many speak words of abundance, yet fail to receive because their hands are closed with fear, or their hearts are heavy with disbelief. To receive is an act of courage, a willingness to accept good without question, knowing it is one's divine inheritance. When I spoke my sentence, I also stood ready to receive, grateful before the blessing appeared, open before the gift arrived. That readiness created the perfect channel through which wealth flowed effortlessly into my life. Words, images, faith, and receptivity combined to transform a single declaration into immediate abundance. The first truth is the force of the spoken word, for every utterance is a decree sent forth into the unseen. Words are not casual sounds, they are commands clothed in vibration, and the universe takes them as law. When I spoke the powerful sentence that altered my life, it was not idle chatter, but a living seed of destiny. The subconscious mind, which never questions, accepted it immediately and began its tireless work of arranging circumstances to fulfill it. To speak is to create, and to declare is to call forth substance from the invisible storehouse of spirit. Thus the word spoken in faith becomes the very bridge between the unseen and the seen. The second truth is the role of the inner image. Words form pictures in the mind, and those pictures become blueprints that the subconscious follows. To speak lack is to paint lack. To speak wealth is to paint abundance. Life mirrors the image most vividly impressed upon consciousness. When I spoke my sentence, I envisioned myself as already prosperous, already surrounded by wealth and ease. That vision was so clear it felt like a memory rather than a hope. The subconscious, unable to distinguish between imagination and reality, responded as if the picture were already fact. In this way, the word painted the image, and the image became the mold through which substance poured. The third truth is the necessity of faith, the unwavering assurance that what is spoken is already accomplished. Faith does not argue with appearances, it looks beyond them. Appearances may show poverty, but faith proclaims abundance. Appearances may show delay, but faith declares immediacy. When I spoke my powerful sentence, I did not glance at empty accounts or unmet needs. I looked with the inner eye, knowing that spirit never withholds and that all things are already mine in the invisible. That certainty was the fuel that propelled my words into swift manifestation. Where doubt lingers, delay appears, but where faith reigns, results are instant. The fourth truth is the law of receptivity. Many speak affirmations, but remain closed to receiving. They question the manner, the timing, or their worthiness, and so the gift cannot enter. To receive requires a posture of openness, a willingness to accept without hesitation. When I spoke my sentence, I coupled it with gratitude, giving thanks for the wealth before it had appeared. That gratitude opened wide the channels of supply, making room for riches to flow unobstructed. Readiness to receive is the silent partner of faith, and together they ensure manifestation. The fifth truth is the harmony of alignment. Words, images, faith, and receptivity must all agree, for divided consciousness creates confusion. If one speaks prosperity yet imagines failure, if one declares abundance yet clings to doubt, the results are scattered. But when the word, the vision, the belief, and the willingness to receive are united, the law works with precision. My powerful sentence bore fruit overnight because every part of my being was in agreement. Spirit answers not half-hearted declarations but complete alignment, and where harmony exists, demonstration cannot be delayed. The first truth is the authority of the spoken word, for every word spoken with conviction becomes a decree that the universe must obey. Words are more than sounds, they are creative forces that shape destiny. When I spoke the powerful sentence, it was not merely an arrangement of syllables but a command to life itself. The subconscious, which knows no difference between jest and earnest, accepted it as law and began the swift work of bringing it into form. To speak in faith is to plant a seed in the soil of spirit, and that seed must grow into the likeness of the word that was spoken. The second truth is the vision created within the imagination. Each word paints a picture, and the mind holds that picture as instruction. If one speaks of struggle, the mind paints a picture of hardship, and life reflects it faithfully. If one speaks of wealth, the mind holds the image of abundance, and life becomes its mirror. When I declared my sentence, I saw myself already in possession of the riches I claimed. The picture was so vivid that it felt real, and the subconscious, ever obedient, began shaping reality to match the vision. The clearer the image, the swifter the manifestation, for the mind works tirelessly to bring forth what it beholds. The third truth is faith, the unwavering trust that what is spoken and envisioned already exists in the unseen. Faith does not look at circumstances or listen to fear. It rests in the certainty that Spirit has already supplied every need. When I spoke my sentence, I did not question how or when. I knew it was already done, that knowing dissolved all resistance, and where resistance is gone, results flow instantly. Faith is the bridge between the invisible word and the visible world, and when the bridge is strong, nothing can prevent the passage of abundance. The fourth truth is receptivity, the willingness to receive without fear, doubt, or hesitation. Many block their good by questioning their worthiness, or by fearing the means by which it may arrive. To receive is to open the heart, to stand ready and grateful even before the gift is seen. When I spoke my sentence, I gave thanks in advance, preparing myself inwardly for the arrival of abundance. That gratitude was the open door through which prosperity entered. To speak and not be willing to receive is to plant a seed and refuse the harvest, but to speak and then welcome the result is to allow Spirit to work without obstruction. The fifth truth is alignment, the harmony of word, image, faith, and receptivity. If one speaks abundance yet imagines lack, or believes in wealth but secretly resists receiving, the results are delayed. But when every part of the being agrees, when word, vision, belief, and openness are united, the law works with exact precision. My powerful sentence manifested overnight because there was no division within me. All was aligned with truth. The sixth truth is the law of gratitude, for gratitude multiplies whatever it touches. To give thanks before the evidence appears is the highest form of faith, and it draws good swiftly into form. Gratitude acknowledges that the gift is already given, and this recognition compels it to appear. My sentence was spoken with gratitude, and that gratitude turned the invisible into the visible without delay.